Welcome to the Monique Guiled Method Show, where business meets science and intuition on WGSO 990 AM and streaming live on WGSO.com. Monique Guild's unique technique leverages her cutting-edge and no-nonsense approach to evaluate you, your business, and your projects, to see and pinpoint blocks, and as a futurist, she has the know-how to catapult your business to the next level. So call in with your questions to 504-556-9696. And now, here's the host, Monique Guiled.
Hello, this is Monique Guiled. Welcome to the Monique Guiled Method Radio Show. I'm so excited you're here, and I'm going to give the call-in number one more time real quick, 504-556-9696. Love to get your calls. Let me ask you something. Have you ever asked yourself, how far can my business go? What are my true strengths? What should I really be doing in my career? Why do I feel so stuck? What is my next step? Well, I am a person who is a futurist, a business intuitive, and a turnaround and development strategist. And I've worked with CEOs, entrepreneurs, startups, businesses, celebrities, politicians, artists, athletes, you name it. I've worked to help optimize maximal potential, and I have a very no-nonsense style. And basically what I get to do is I evaluate your business, and I'm able to know exactly what's caused you to get stuck on an atomic and molecular level, and then I know exactly what to do to turn it around. And I've had the opportunity of being featured on the cover of the LA Times Metro section and NBC, numerous radio shows, and I've taught workshops, and I'm currently finishing a book and in development on a TV show based on my work. So I've been able to really help a lot of people all over the world who've become stuck in their jobs, stuck in business, corporations that are stuck, family businesses, partners, family partnerships, businesses, you name it. If it's stuck in business, whatever it is, a product, a project, I work with people all over the world, and it's been an amazing time. And I would have never imagined that my familial background would bring me to the places I've been to now as a result of an inherited ability I have. My dad could have a patient walk in the door, tell you everything about that person before they open their mouth. And my grandmother was the same way, but she had a different type of ability where she just knew things in advance, and she was able to really see into the future. And I, just from hearing somebody's voice, I'm able to know exactly where they've gotten stuck, whether it's the person, product, project, where it's gotten stuck on an atomic level, and I know exactly where it's capable of going, what the gift is, and I know exactly what to do to turn it around and develop it into a whole different, to really make a paradigm shift. So I welcome your calls today. Feel free to call in. I'd love to help you with any of your business questions, career questions, anything going on with you business-wise. I also, too, know that a lot of some clients I've gotten to work with recently, I see that a lot of people with health issues, and I believe a lot of our health issues come from stuck businesses, stuck careers, that intuitive voice that has been ignored for a really long time. And it keeps knocking inside of you saying, pay attention, and then finally it ends up coming out as an ailment, some sort of illness or something. And so many people are stuck in jobs they don't like. They are just going paycheck to paycheck, wondering how they're going to feed their families, what they're going to do, and they've learned to ignore that inside self, ignore that dream that they had as a child, and ignore that intuitive, God-given abilities that I really believe that we were born with as children. And what I do is I get to teach people through my workshops and through my one-on-one consultations and my retainers to begin to hear that voice again and to learn to override the past that's gotten them stuck now. Because I really believe it's the personal stuff that gets the business stuff blocked. I could be meeting with a diplomat in El Salvador to a person who runs a family business to, it doesn't matter, any walk of life and business. And I see it time and time and time again that it's the personal stuff, absolutely, that gets the business stuff blocked. And so any kind of chaos or stress or things that are feeling stuck, it always manifests either through illnesses, depression, grief, loss, resentments. It manifests in so many ways. I cannot tell you how important it is that you really begin to start listening to that inner voice, that inside self of you that's always talking to us. If you're anything like me, I come from a very my mom was from Norway, my dad was from Mississippi. They met in Paris, and my mom always wanted to move to America, and she was an actress there in Norway, and she met my dad, and she ended up moving to Wiggins, Mississippi in the 60s, which at that time it was a very different type of America. I mean, it's just, she was in shell shock, and she ended up, I think through her own pain and through her own not honoring herself, ended up, drinking too much and all that sort of stuff. And all those things get passed on. And then the chaos begins. And then everything becomes a big distraction in the family. And then nobody can hear anything and hear how they're being guided. Being a child growing up in that type of environment where it was just a lot of arguing and a lot of chaos, and I literally had to get a feel for the house before I walked into the house to say, is it going to be fight or flight for the day? I just had to know things and be prepared. And that causes us to not only jump ship on ourselves, but we become so used to being primed to getting ready for fight or flight that we end up living our lives that way, and we don't even realize we're doing it as we grow up and grow older. And what happens is that we neurologically become hardwired to a flight or fight type of situation that produces chemicals in our body, and our body gets used to those chemicals. So when everything gets calm and everything gets normal again, or normalizes, so to speak, or you get into a situation you're really happy about, the body will crave a chemical hit from the past, and it will have you attract in a circumstance, a person, a situation, or even internal anxiety, depression, just so it will have its chemicals from the family of origin. And what I teach my clients to do is to begin, we uncover what has them stuck to begin with, what happened. And because of my ability, I'm able to know exactly what's caused. Within the first 20 minutes of meeting with whoever I'm meeting with, I know exactly what's caused the product or project or person to get stuck just from hearing somebody's voice. And then I get blocks of information. It is what it is. I was born with it. It wasn't something I sought out to do. It wasn't something that I... Anyway, it was apparent when I went into business and that there was something else going on with me, and I just knew things. But as we begin to develop ourselves and things become calmer, the body's going to want to hit from that past, that familiar past, and it will cause situations to happen that you're not even aware of. You don't understand why things are stuck. You don't understand how could this possibly be? I didn't do anything, but you did. The body ends up attracting the situation, and you don't even realize it. It's pretty wild what begins to, how sneaky that body is. So start thinking about this. I'd love to take your calls. Call in again. We're going to go on a commercial break in a few seconds here. But again, the call-in number is 504-556-9696. Looking forward to helping you with your business questions and seeing what we can uncover, discover, and discard. Okay? I'll talk to you soon after the commercial break. Thank you so much.
I feel nice, like sugar and spice. So nice, I got you. When I hold you in my arms, I know that I can't do no wrong. And when I hold you in my arms, my love.
The Conscious Life Expo is excited to announce our virtual event February 19th to the 21st. COVID lockdown will continue into February, impacting the opening of the LAX Hilton to events and conferences. We have organized the expo as a virtual event, including a customized designed 3D virtual exhibit hall and multi-channel live stream conference. Through our virtual partners, the expo will be able to broadcast around the country and around the world, becoming a global forum and marketplace for products, motivation, community, and progressive ideas. Join us for the 2021 Conscious Life Expo. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. I am thrilled to be here, and someone just asked me a question a minute ago about businesses, and just to give you a little recap on what we spoke about a second ago, I am a futurist, a business intuitive, turnaround development strategist, and I get to work with companies and people all over the world that have become stuck or blocked in business, products or projects, or you've become stuck or blocked in business, and I'm, because of an inherited ability, I'm able to turn around. Just by hearing somebody's voice, I'm able to know exactly what's caused a business to get stuck on an atomic and molecular level. And it's brought me all over the world working in all kind of situations, whether in El Salvador, helping transition third generation coffee, sugarcane hotels and condos to the fourth generation to, you name it. I'll tell you all about that in a minute. But someone asked a question a minute ago about complacency and people getting into jobs and being complacent. And complacency really is tricky because it's a situation where it's tricky because the complacency causes a certain thought process, a certain chemical flow, that complacency, and your body gets used to that. And there is a part of your brain that will keep you in that safety zone. It's called the neocortex. And it's a part of your brain that keeps you from walking across the street when there's a car coming down the street and you jump back. It's the same thing with complacency. It'll keep you in that comfort zone, but really it's comfortable to be uncomfortably comfortable, so to speak. It becomes, you know, there's like a nagging voice inside of you. There's something more to do. Complacency is very good. And I'll get back to that because I think we may have a caller. Brian from Metairie just called in. And hey, Brian, how are you? This is Monique Guild. Thanks for calling in.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. Thank you so much for your show. I'm enjoying it a great deal. I have a question. I don't know if it is answerable, but if you had advice, because there are a lot of business people that listen to WGSO, for the businesses that are hanging on by their fingernails and those that are struggling in Jefferson Parish and Kenner, in New Orleans, surrounding areas, what advice could you give them, or strategy, I guess would be the best word, on plotting a course to hold on? Is it by monthly that you would do that, 6 months, yearly? Or is it because things are moving so erratically that it would almost be week to week? I don't know. It's a hard question to ask because it's a so fluid situation. It's just not like adding numbers.
Right. That's a really, I think it's a great question. I think it's a question.
Thank you so much.
Oh my God, Brian, that a lot of people are asking themselves a lot. I mean, so many people are in the boat that you're talking about, and I can hear the sadness in your voice, and it's amazing how much compassion you have for so many others. And you know, it's a wonderful question that you're thinking of the community and bringing this question up, and gets my heart. So thanks for calling in. So what would I say to you? The first thing that comes to mind, and this may sound a little odd, and it's like, well, how is this going to help? There's so much power in numbers. And the fact that you called in tells me that you're like a leader. You're a person who could easily lead people, bring people together, bring the different parishes or just even the parish you're in, and somehow start. And I know it's tricky right now because of the COVID and stuff, but somehow, now follow me on this for a minute because I'm feeling it out as I'm telling you this answer too, where the community gets to come together and start to gather together in a park like setting. And you would go around, let people know where it's going to be, and this gathering, and heck, you start putting together like a group of people, well, social distance in a park somewhere, and I'll come and help you guys start creating these intuitive goals, your soul's purpose goals, because we can look at this as an opportunity, because right now so many people are faced with, like, they have a lot of downtime right now, and a lot of that downtime is going into worry and struggle and suffering. And if we can learn to stay in the moment, there's a meditation I teach. I've taught to corporations. I've taught to people undergoing a lot of stress. And the moment we can learn to silence our mind and to get quiet, that's when answers begin to arise and begin to come out of all the strife and stress and things that are happening. And I tell you, Brian, even if you and a couple of other people got together and you guys wanted me to come out and meet you at a park, and we can film it, and we can help other people and maybe some more people, and we'll start off with meditation, and then we'll start looking at what are the ideas that come up for you, and begin to, we have to do, as a group, as a community, come together. We all come together to support each other. We start off with meditation. We begin to look at what's going on, and just have discussions about the grief and the resentment that you feel. Start to clear away some of the blocks, the mind chatter. The stress are chemicals flowing through the body, and we need to quiet those chemicals. And then that way, the inner voice, our inner guidance, can begin to emerge, because we have to hear that inner guidance first. That's really going to, and let me tell you, Brian, it's some of the hardest things that people have to do. They think, Monique, you're out of your mind. I mean, how am I going to feed my child tonight? I'm telling you. I've dealt with so many situations, so many crisis situations where riot police have been called in, and all kinds of stuff. And when we can begin to come together and start there, that will be a beginning. So we're getting ready to go to commercial break in a few seconds, but I love your question. And let me give you my office number is 310-614-0946, 310-614-0946. My website is Monique Guild, MoniqueGuild.com, like guild. And you can also email me at Monique, MoniQue, at MoniqueGuild.com. I was just told we've got a couple more minutes. I can still keep talking. But Brian, does any of that make sense to you? He's gone. Okay. So now up next, we've got Mark from Gretna. Thank you, Mark, so much for calling. I really appreciate you calling in. How can I help you today?
Hey, great show. Very uplifting.
Thank you.
I, like Brian, I'm kind of concerned about the future for the city. I think that although the city will survive, I think a lot of natives are getting pushed out of New Orleans intentionally.
Mm.
I think the mandates here are stricter than, other cities and states, and what's happening is, in a city that's very fields-based like New Orleans, musicians, people who honestly didn't have that much savings to begin with financially,
Mm-hmm.
they are looking to move. They're looking to relocate to the nearest open state or city where they can perform, keep their art out there, as musicians or artists or painters or whatever. And also, it's such a fields-based city like New Orleans, you got people who work in the hospitality industry, and everything's shut down for Mardi Gras. Everything's shut down.
Right.
LaToya Cantrell is going to probably get reelected. it's probably going to be more of the same. It's bleak. The natives, it's bleak, because whether you're specifically the demographics of white and black, the main demographics in New Orleans, I think a lot of the natives are getting pushed out, both white and black, and all in between. Any natives, really.
Right.
If you notice, in Gertown, downtown, they're telling them they need to relocate because they're living on radioactive soil. Me personally, I think they are going to grab that land up, build more condos, and basically
So I'm going to jump in
long-term-
here because they're going to take me
Go
to
ahead.
commercial in a minute, but I want to answer a little bit of what you're saying. So first of all, I know where you're coming from. I went to McDonough 15 in the French Quarter, and then I know the public school system and I know the private school system. I will tell you that Chris Beery, the owner of the WGSO, he has a radio show, Funky Uncle, on Friday nights, and he is helping so many musicians, and they are I'd tell you to look up his company, and I'll get some more information when we come back from commercial break. I'll tell you more about that. I've got to jump off now, but it's a wonderful question you answered. I'm going to get some more information for you too. I love the city of New Orleans. You're so right. The food, the music, the people. That's why I'm here, and I love you guys. Thank you.
Really need it.
Hello, this is Monique Guild of the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. I am so looking forward to being a keynote speaker at the Conscious Life Expo this year. The whole event's been set up as a virtual event. February 21st, join me at 10:30 a.m. Central Time for a wealth-building workshop like none other. ConsciousLifeExpo.com. Get your tickets and join me. We're going to have a great time. Hey, this is Monique Guild. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. I'm a futurist, business intuitive, turnaround and development strategist. I've worked with companies and individuals and crisis situations, people all over the world who've become stuck or blocked in business. I help turn around products and projects and individuals and family businesses and you name it. So we had a caller call in a little while ago, and a wonderful question about musicians and help for New Orleans, the city of New Orleans, and the people here. Oh my gosh, I love this city so much. I actually live in Los Angeles, but I'm here back, and I am thrilled to be doing this show, and I want to help the city of New Orleans in any way that I can. Come together and figure out solutions. I've gotten to work with a lot of political leaders all over the world, and I know the ins and outs of politics in some areas, and I know how tricky it can be. But people, your community, your parish, when a gentleman spoke earlier about his parish, and he's so worried about the people in his community, and I think that when people can begin to come together and not feel so isolated, and to meet, I was saying to him to begin to meet like in a park-like setting and have each week come together same time. And so you're not alone. I think one of the worst things is to be stuck at home alone thinking and watching the news. And you've got to, in order to create a new reality, you get to override the current reality. And when your current reality looks really scary, bleak, stressful, what also happens is it's kind of a double whammy, is that the chemicals from your past, what I mean by that, your familial past, the upbringing, chances are that you grew up like me in a situation, it was very volatile. It was a lot of drama, a lot of chaos going on. And because of the ability I had, it got seriously exercised as a result of my environment. But the only thing that happened, the other side of that is that I I became neurologically hardwired in a certain way as a result of my environment. And that neurology releases a chemical in the body, and the body gets used to that chemical flow. So now here you are years later, you're at home, you're watching the TV, you're watching the news, you don't know where your next dollar is going to come from, and all those chemicals from the past start kicking in. And it will keep you so stuck and frozen, and you can't move, and you're so scared. And that's why I'm saying, let's get out of our houses. We need to get out. And maybe, I think it was Brian earlier, it was a wonderful question, and Mark too, that they asked. Get out of the house, come to, start to meet some of your neighbors, and determine a place in your parish, a park, open setting, and so you get to know your neighbors. First of all, I mean, generally we all know our neighbors in the South, especially in New Orleans. You know the people near you. But I was saying to him that I would be happy to come down and help you all. We would start off, first of all, we got to quiet those chemicals. We got to get that stuff quiet so you can begin to hear your inside guidance and begin to get ideas. I promise you, whatever you call it, God, whatever you want to say, universal forces, galactic forces, that unity force that's out there will begin to give the answers to individuals, and ideas will start to bounce around. But it all starts with quieting that inner voice and getting those chemicals. You've got to get your chemical flow to calm down, because I know the anxiety that wakes you up in the middle of the night at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're trying to figure out what to do next. I've been there in spades. I was sick many years ago. Not many years ago. I was sick for 15 years. And actually 2 years ago, in November 2018, I became well. As fast as it came in, as fast as it left. And I know what it is to be terrified and to have a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, and still have to perform and function and keep going. And especially if you have a family and kids to raise, I know how tough it is. And I tell you, it's some of when I really got myself quiet and really began to tune in and hear that inner small voice. And your greatest opportunity for growth right now is to get that voice quiet. And once you get those voices in your head quiet, and once you get all that quieted down, you will, I swear to you, you will start to get answers on what your next step is. Because what has you so gripped right now is the constant, constant barragement of the news. If you're constantly watching news, and also too, this is really important. The second chapter of my book is called "Who You Hang Out With Is Who You Vibrate With," and if you are in constant conversation with your neighbors, your family, your friends about all the bad stuff in the world. If you're talking, and then a group of people are talking about it, that all that, as we speak, that forms a picture in the brain. And like right now, I'm talking to you, and as I'm talking to you, your brain is forming pictures. So if you're talking to somebody about all the negative stuff going on in New Orleans and all the horrible things and scary and la la la, you both are firing those pictures in the frontal lobe of your brain, and that gets registered by the universe. It gets registered out into the cosmos. And that, what they may be talking about, the scary stuff, and you're sitting there listening to it, but you're seeing the same pictures they're seeing, and you end up manifesting what they are talking about in their lives. So I always say to my clients, 30 days of a mental diet of no negative talk, no complaining, no talking about this. What are you going to do right now about the government? There's not anything in your life this very second today that you can do about what you can do in this second is stop for a minute and stop those chemicals and be get still, get quiet, and begin to hear what step can you take in your own private life right now to begin to move forward, because we need to get you moving again. Look, if you want to call in, I'm happy to answer any questions. The number here, and I've got people on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. You can call in. The number here is 504-556-9696. Again, 504-556-9696. But once you begin to hear that inner voice, that stillness, and to begin to contemplate greater than your current environment. Contemplate. I heard Steve Harvey, that comedian, the other day talking on his radio show, and he was talking about when he was a kid, his mom and dad, they didn't have any money, no money, but they would buy him a magazine, a travel magazine, and the husband said to the mother, "Why on earth are you buying him these travel magazines?" She says, "Well, we may not be able to take him traveling anywhere, but at least one day he sees these pictures and he'll have an idea in his mind about what he can do and where he can go to." And now, of course, he's one of the most famous comedians and has traveled all over the world. And he, those pictures in the mind. So it's very important. I'm asking, just like for today, no complaining. No complaining, right? And let's go through a little meditation here for 1 second. So what I get people to do, and I've taught this to John Arrow Prudential Real Estate Company. I mean, people with cell phones and chaos around them all the time. What we do is I have you connect with your inside self so that our diaphragms rise and fall. Rise and fall. And I give your mind something to do, because you got all that mind chattering going on. And I give your mind something to do by counting the breath. So you inhale 1. And in your mind's eye, when you're inhaling 1, you're going to see that number 1 come up in your mind right here. And then you're going to blow out 2. Inhale 3. And then blow out 4. And the idea is to get to 10, but when the thoughts start coming in, or the stress, or you forget your numbers, you start back at 1. And what it does is you are saying to your body, "No, body, I'm going to be the leader here. I'm not going to let you lead me because you need a chemical hit from the past. I'm not going to allow you to keep getting those chemicals and keep it be bound in stress where I cannot hear my inside self right now." And the meditation, I just can't even tell you how important it is. And it's the beginning of an opening that is going to be way greater than you can ever imagine. Let me give you the call-in number again. It's 504-556-9696, 504-556-9696. We're about to go on a little bit of a commercial break, but please feel free to call in with any of your questions. Thank you all joining us here on Instagram. I appreciate you joining me. We're going to go on a commercial break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. Okay, talk to you soon.
Oh, but I need some time off from that emotion. Time to pick my heart up off the floor. Oh, when that love comes down without devotion. Well, it takes a strong man, baby, but I'm showing you the door. 'Cause I gotta have faith. I gotta have faith. Because I got to have faith. I got to have faith. Baby, I know you're asking me to stay. Say please, please, please.
Hello, this is Monique Guild of the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. I am so looking forward to being a keynote speaker at the Conscious Life Expo this year. The whole event's been set up as a virtual event. February 21st, join me at 10:30 a.m. Central Time for a wealth-building workshop like none other. ConsciousLifeExpo.com. Get your tickets and join me. We're going to have a great time.
Just take those old records off the shelf. I said listen to them by myself. Today's music ain't
Hey
got
there,
the
it's
same
Monique
sound.
Guild. Welcome back to the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. This is where we bring business, science, and intuition together. I get to work with people all over the world that have somehow become stuck or blocked in their business lives, career lives, or their product or projects are stuck. I do have an inherited ability, and it's taken me into some of the most intricate, interesting. I was behind the scenes during the 2016 presidential election. I will not say which candidate. I'm not going there. But I was behind the scenes working with some of the media consultants, and it was interesting to say the least. But anyway, I'm here for you. I'm here for the city of New Orleans. I want to know how I can help. If you have a business question, career question, product, project, something is stuck. Mark and Brian called earlier and had wonderful questions about the musicians and the artists here in the community and what are they going to do. And the Funky Uncle on Friday nights, they have a charity and helping musicians here in New Orleans. If you tune in on Friday night, do you know what time that show is? Funky Uncle? I'm not sure of that, but if you look on the site, you'll find out, and really helpful. And then Brian had a wonderful question about how to help his community, and he's so worried about the people around him that are having a rough time, and I can really appreciate that. So one of the things, too, to look at is what are the distractions in your life? So let's say you're not home alone, you're with your family, or let's say you're with people who have addictive personalities, people that are drinking or drugging or have anger issues, and it's causing a huge distraction. All that stuff is a distraction from really what the real situation is. And oftentimes, a lot of the times, it's financial. And all this chaos is going on around you, and it really is, it's just a big distraction from what really needs to be addressed, which is the underlying cause of financial worries and business worries and career worries. Once you can begin to determine what, okay, like, with your family, like, okay, let's stop all the craziness or the drama. Let's look at the real issue here. What are we going to do for work or to get the jobs going? It's amazing that how much, and I'm going out on a limb on saying this, but addictions in our life, whether it be drug addictions, alcohol addictions, that's something I had to recover from myself many, many, many years ago. So I've been there. I'm talking from a place of having walked in those shoes. When you look at if there are any addictions that need to be addressed in the family, again, alcohol, too much spending, sugar, a lot of sugar, drug addictions, anger addictions. That when those get addressed, and there's so many amazing programs out there, there's so many that really help to address those issues. Once that starts to get addressed, it's amazing how things start to turn around. I mean, it really is, like, answers start to come because you've quieted that voice, that chatter, that craziness that's distracting you from hearing your inner guidance. And the sooner you can learn to tap into that inner guidance, and you quiet all that stuff and you tap into that inner guidance, the sooner you begin to have questions for yourself, for your community. And oftentimes, the situation that's going on with COVID, everything that started to happen, what it did is it just exasperate what was already there. It just brought up, it caused all the fat to bubble up to the top, so to speak. And it really just brought up the issues that were already lingering, already there, things that needed to be addressed. I always believe that situations become bigger and bigger, and or our inside selves. It's like our soul is knocking on the inside of us, saying, "Knock, knock, knock." What about the talent you have that you've never paid attention to? What about these things you keep saying you're going to do? That knock, knock, knock gets louder and louder, or the distractions in your outer world get louder and louder. And I think that if there's addiction issues, once those start to get addressed, boy, I tell you, the sky is the limit. It really, really is. So feel free to call in 504-556-9696. I am a futurist, turnaround, and development strategist. I work with people and situations all over the world that have become stuck or blocked. And we've been talking about we started off talking about distractions, and this intuitive goal setting is something I teach my clients. It's something I've taught in the workshops, and it's all about our soul's purpose goals. how are we being guided intuitively to hear our soul's purpose, and how do we learn to begin to tap into that? And I always say, we're always, there's some people who, I mean, it sounds crazy, but some people will hear voices, or they get blocks of information, or they just know things, your gut instinct, or they have visions. Steve Jobs was an amazing visionary. Einstein was a person who spent a lot of time in contemplation, and he spent so much time in contemplation, he just ended up downloading the theory of relativity. I mean, just got blocks of information. The more that we become still, the more we quiet our inside selves, we quiet the distractions around us, we begin to hear that inner voice. And when you learn to identify how is it speaking to you, is it through your dreams? Is it through a whisper? Is it through signs, like literal signs in your everyday environments? I always ask for signs all the time. Give me a sign, give me some sort of sign. And oh my God, I mean, I've gotten some amazing signs of my next step or directions or just things. And but you have to learn how the outer, how is your inside self talking to you, because it speaks to everybody differently. So it's very important to learn. And then for me, when I need to tap into, when I need answers and I need them now, my two go-to tools are journaling, because I get all the crap out of my head and I get it onto the paper, all that mind chattering, all that stress, all that stressful thoughts, and I'm thinking I need to dump it somewhere. I want to get it out of my body. I want that chemical flow to stop. So I will sit and I'll journal. I'll write it all out. I get all that. I just call it brain drain it all onto the paper, write it all out. And I'll meditate. I'll do whatever I need to do to quiet down, to get quiet. And my environment, I mean, Lord knows, I was at 19, well, I'm going to really date myself if I tell you that date. I won't tell you the date. But years ago, I was running a department across the nation for a corporation. I was the national director. And the outside world looked real great, it had all this stuff. And then before you know it, I had a write-up in the LA Times, and I was featured on the Metro section on the cover, and I had a big old article. They called me the bubbly Sherlock Holmes. But I had that by day, and by night I was going home to a nightmare relationship. And it was so bad that my friend Patsy said to me, she says, Moni, she says, if I say this to you, I'm afraid you won't be my friend anymore. But if I don't say this to you, I'm not your friend, and I'm not being a good friend. And she says, I fear for your life. And I was in a relationship that was so just, the guy was out of his mind. And I had to leave that relationship. I had to eventually get out. It took me a while. It took me a minute. For sure. I called off the movers 3 times. But once I got out of that, got into a quiet environment, in fact, I lived with Patsy for a while and regrouped and re-centered. I began to hear that still quiet inner voice and began to hear what my next step was and what I was going to do next. So the outer world, our external environments, have so much of an impact on how, like I said earlier, who we hang out with is who we vibrate with. And our external worlds have such an impact on our inside selves. And so really taking stock and taking inventory of your external environment, see, is that maybe influencing you somehow and not hearing your next step? Or getting so caught up in the chaos and the drama and the stress of the negative media and listening to that 24/7. I mean, or talking to people in about all the negative things going on in the world. Really stop all that complaining and get quiet, be still. We're about to go on commercial break, but I'd sure love to hear from you, answer any questions you may have. 504-556-9696. Again, this is Monique Guild, and we are on the Monique Guild Method Radio Show. And thank you so much for joining me.